And in today's tutorial we're going to stay with the flare techniques, and this one is called the 2-click flare. This scratch is another variation of the original flare, and now we'll add one more fader movement to the 1-click flare to create 3 sounds going forward and 3 sounds on the reverse. The 2-click flare sounds like this. And after this tutorial you can make it sound like this. And as you've just seen, we're going to be using a controller for today's tutorial, and this one is called the DDJ SB3 by Pioneer DJ, so that you can see that we can scratch on a controller also. Good people, what is up? Hello and how's it? I'm DJ Shameless if we haven't met before, and if we have, welcome back to the channel. Okay, I think I've spoken enough already. Let's just get into the tutorial. The 2-click flare orbit is a 6-note scratch comprising of 3 notes forward and 3 notes on the reverse, and is very similar to the 1-click flare with 1 extra click on the crossfader in the middle of the forward and the reverse scratch. It's called a 2-click flare because we move the crossfader twice from an open position to a closed position on the forward movement of the sample, and then the same in the reverse movement. The first part of the 2-click flare is exactly the same as the chirp scratch and the 1-click flare, so line up your sample to the beginning. So as soon as you hear the sample come in, you move the crossfader from an open position to a closed position. Continuing the motion forward, you now perform a 1-click transformer. Still moving the sample forward, you now move the crossfader from a closed position to an on position, giving you a total of 3 sounds. So if we start that again, step number 1 is to let the sample play and close the crossfader. Step number 2 is to perform a 1-click transformer, still continuing the forward motion. And step number 3 is to move the crossfader to an open position while the sample still plays. So in one smooth motion, it would look and sound like this. Let's do it again. One more time. Now to complete the 2-click flare orbit, we have to perform the exact same but in the opposite direction. Starting with the crossfader open, you pull the sample back and close the crossfader. Perform the reverse 1-click transformer and complete the orbit by doing a pullback and open the crossfader. So now you're performing 3 sounds on the reverse movement. Let's do that a few more times so that you can see what the reverse half looks like. Once you feel comfortable doing the forward motion and the reverse motion, we now combine the two and you will get 6 individual notes. At the intermediate level of the 2-click flare orbit, we can now introduce textures by moving the sample faster or slower. For example, let's do a few of those on a metronome. At the advanced level of the 2-click flare, you could add in the previously land scratches. For instance, you can perform a few baby scratches before the 2-click flare, and that would sound like this. You could also perform a 3-click transformer on the forward motion and a 2-click flare on the way back. You could also perform combinations of the 1-click flare and then a 2-click flare, and that would sound like this. Let's do a few combinations on a metronome, including the previously land scratches and introducing different textures and tones on the platter, and also adding a little swing. By swing, I'm talking about the placement of the 2-click flare. And as always, once you get comfortable with the 2-click flare, don't forget to add your own techniques and come up with your own patterns. The flare techniques really take a little bit of time to get used to it, so don't rush it. You'll get it if you put in the time. The next tutorial, I'll be covering the original flare technique, where the 1-click and 2-click variations come from. Also, if you're a beginner DJ and looking at getting some gear, I'm going to be doing a full review and demo of this controller, and I'll link that at the end of this video. Until then, keep practicing, and if you haven't subscribed already to the channel, please do so. It really helps with the growth of the channel. And happy scratching, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.